Hey, welcome everybody. Hello, hello. Oh wow. So many good faces here. Yay. Hi everybody. I'm Tish Hicks. I'm the Master Sensei of the VO Dojo, and welcome to our monthly free Q&A that is called Ask the Sensei. At the dojo, we call our teachers senseis, following the model of the martial arts. And each month, I'm here joined with our home studio master, Dan Leonard, Techno Sensei. So he's here to answer any tech questions that you have about anything, from the most fundamental to the complex. He can answer your questions. And each month we are joined by one of our esteemed voiceover colleagues, and we're so excited to welcome Katie Leigh here. And hopefully some of you got to take in the 21 questions we did with Katie. It goes all in depth in her amazing multi-decade career. We're just talking about, she said, what do you want to talk about? Like, I want you to talk about, you are the embodiment of a sustained, successful voiceover career.
Well,
So,
there's a few ups and downs. We can talk
well,
about that.
that's no one says it's a sustained successful career. It's like one of those memes, right? Like how you get there, but you're still with it. So that's the thing of it. That's what we all have to keep in mind. So, yeah, and let's see. Jeffrey is here to support us all. Thank you, Jeffrey. Dojo team member extraordinaire. So the way this works is I'll
There's
have
a screen share. So for some reason we're sharing. Oh, it's
there
gone.
we go, there we go. Um, um, yeah, we'll have Dan introduce himself, Katie introduce herself a little bit, and if you want to know more, please refer to the 21 questions interview. And then, most importantly on this call, is your questions about where you're at, what are you thinking about, what is something that's on your mind that if you knew, you would be moving forward. That's what we're here today to share. And then Katie's has a long spanning animation career and also works in all sorts of genres. So I think between the three of us, we should be able to answer questions that you have and have some insights on it. Um, so Dan, so good to have you back. It's been busy couple months for you. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Dan Leonard, the home studio master. And if you have a question about home voiceover studio equipment, technology, technique, something along those lines, I'm the guy to ask this morning. And it shouldn't be intimidating. It's not computer science, it's audio science, and that's very different. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to throw them into the chat room.
Yeah. Oh, and before we ask you, Katie, to introduce yourself, would love to have each of you introduce yourselves in the chat too. Where are you calling from? And we'd love to hear love to hear where you're at on your voiceover journey. Are you just starting out? Have you done some training? Do you have your demo? Do you have representation? Are you booking sometimes? Are you booking regularly? So we get a sense of how to gauge where people are at on their journey and how to answer questions. So yeah. And as people are doing that, Katie, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Katie Leigh. I'm so happy to be here. Actually, I'm here today is in St. George, Utah. So I was trying to show you the beautiful scenery, but I ended up being in the dark. So you guys have to look at the wall here. Yeah, and so I've been doing voiceover since about 1981, maybe even a little bit before that. And I've done everything, but my big oh, here comes some large vehicle. I'm sitting outside. Most of my stuff is animation that I've really made a career in. ADR actually, as counting it, when I look at my income statement, there's a lot of residuals there. So I highly recommend working on movies, post-production. And you know what? It really doesn't matter, if it's one line or 15,000, you still get the same rate. So everything that comes my way, I'm always thankful for. Did that kind of, and I'm based in California, Los Angeles, and I was born and raised there. So I had the luck of the draw.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, so that's fantastic. I was going to say one more thing and now it left my mind.
I took my glasses. Oh, I just want to say, Tish, when you started, you were sort of like, oh, all these people. I'm like, what people? And then I hit the gallery view and like, oh, hey, everybody.
There we go. You what people? Yeah, excellent. Good. So, to take your questions, if you could put them in the chat, and then Jeffrey will bring each of you into the room as we go. We might consolidate some questions if we see them, pull out a tech question, but yeah, what questions are in your mind? What are you guys thinking about today?
What are
And
your
while you're
burning questions?
yeah, and while you're doing that, Katie, I'd love to share what we were just talking about. The story we did the 21 questions, so we talk about a little bit about Katie's origin story, and we were just talking about how at the dojo we're all about the internal work first, the alignment of mind, body, spirit, and
Yeah, and you kind of threw me when you asked me that question too.
oh, interesting. Of what are your next intentions?
What do you want? Yeah.
Yeah, what do you want? What do you want? And yeah, but share what you said, and then share what's happened since, because it's so like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so if we look back, I think he said, what do you want? And I said, I'd really like to do more conventions because it's been slow and I really like going to the conventions and I want to do some more ADR work, right? So about 2 days later, I had been, anyway, long story short, I'm working on a movie, an animated film next week. I got a part in it, really little ancillary characters, which is great. And then a few days ago, I got booked a convention in Pennsylvania. If anybody's in Pennsylvania, I'll be in Oak at RetroCon. Oak, Pennsylvania, I think it's called, near Valley Forge. So yeah, and I don't know what else I said I wanted. I don't
Well,
did I say $1 million? Dang. I should forget to do that.
But you also said you're going to Comic-Con.
Oh yeah. So that's true. It's a little different because just so you guys know, San Diego Comic-Con is the hugest one, but it's a different, I don't know, Danny, if you've ever been there. I called you Danny, kind of. Sorry. But nobody really gets paid to go there except maybe now, like movie stars, they ship them there or something. But it's a big volunteer grassroots thing. But they're doing a 40th panel for Dungeons and Dragons, the cartoon I was in. 40th anniversary panel. I didn't realize it'd been 40 years, and they asked me to go on it. So I always try something new, and I thought this time I'm gonna put together a cosplay and dress like my character, Sheila the Thief, because that's cool. There's no makeup, and I get to wear a hood, and so I'm ordering that kind of stuff. So I'm excited. Actually, I went once kind of dressed as I did something on Sailor Moon. So I dressed sort of as her character, but this is way cooler.
Yay. Cool. So the first rule of the dojo here is know what you want, ask for it. People will give it to you if you allow. So
and I think Tish is 100% right about that.
So it's that easy. And 40 years of going at it. Yeah. So what questions are on your guys' mind? This is a Q&A, which is always more successful when there's Q's, because then we can A.
We have our first one.
Awesome. Let's jump in.
All right. So when I call on you we'd love to have your voice in the room. So when I call on you, unmute yourself and come into the room to ask your question. If you are feeling a little shy, feel free to just let me know in the chat and I'm happy to pose the question for you. First one is coming to us from Janelle. Janelle, come on down.
Mhm.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi. Okay, sorry. I'll be honest, I just woke up, so I'm trying to not show myself right now. But
Dude, I make videos in my bathrobe. It's okay.
okay, cool. So my question was, so I make my comfort space is like YouTube videos. And so I'm just starting my You Should Do Voiceover curriculum. I'm going through it. I'm going through the live classes, and I'm very excited to apply this. But the thing that I wanted to do, I guess, to like practice more was maybe apply this in, like, let's say videos, or just like something. I have a mic set up and everything. I'm home, but like I really want to get into animation and video games. Like, how, like, are there ways, maybe there are channels that apply voiceover onto animations? I can't draw. I can't like make my own animation. So like I'm trying to figure out if there are ways that I can apply this at home with the tools that I already have and the internet.
Yeah. But
Are you asking how to get voiceover jobs via YouTube for animation and video games?
I think it's more of like I'd love to like publish my own.
Mm. How to create content in animation. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes. Like I'd love to create, because I mean, when I started my YouTube video creation journey, like I kind of like cringe at the earlier stuff that I make, So I know that there's definitely a practicing curve and a learning curve that I'd like to hone my skills through. And to me, like that's kind of like through social media and through making videos. And I wonder if there is a way where, I guess the first thing off the top of my head is, are there like maybe blank animations or something that I can like do voiceover over? Like, how do you?
Well, I have an idea, Tish. Sometimes I've seen people take the sound out of cartoons and then you can do your own voices to match the character.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, that it might take a little bit of time, but it's interesting. It's interesting to do this with all voiceover, voiceover genres. But if you take something or a section, like maybe a scene of animation that has an arc to it, then you could transcribe it, right? And then take the sound out, and you can do it. So really what you're asking is like, is there like animation karaoke, right? That you have everything else. Maybe we should make that. It's a good idea. So you can play around with that. And I think that there's something in the process. If you can look at, and Janelle, you're in the You Should Do Voiceover Launchpad, so you have access to the format of scripts. But if you can look at the format of a script and then transcribe it and put it into the format, there's something about doing that that also teaches you the process of like, oh, I see how this goes. So that could be a way to do it. The other way is, there's a great organization called Women in Animation, headquartered here, but I think you can be anywhere, and you don't even have to be a woman. Anybody can join. But it's a great resource, and there's always great panels and things like that, and it might be an interesting opportunity to connect with people who are animators or are aspiring animators. That if you have an idea, Janelle, of like, ooh, this is kind of what I want to create, you could collaborate, or maybe animation schools or something like that. Those would be my thoughts. What thoughts do you have, Dan? Any ideas? As like, is there any way from a technical standpoint to like to deconstruct an episode of animation?
Well, if you just download some video of it and use some regular software like
iMovie, you can strip the audio.
actually in almost anyone you can, in Premiere,
QuickTime too, I think.
ScreenFlow, you can just remove the audio and you can dub it in any way you want. It's really not rocket science. Pretty simple.
But that removes all the sound effects and all the music and stuff, right?
That's
Yeah.
not what
Yeah.
you want everyone to hear. You only want them to hear.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Yeah. Awesome. Was that helpful, Janelle?
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah.
You know what? I have one other idea.
Mhm.
Oh
When
yeah.
we were kids, Dan, referencing you, we used to watch TV shows that read, and they would just read books, kids' books with pictures. There's no reason, and I always recommend reading little kids' books out loud with pictures, creating voices for the characters. 'Cause I think that's about the best practice you can get. So you can record yourself reading storybooks
Mhm.
and
you
show the pictures.
Yeah, and you can just create your playground that, hey, it's animation time, and you can do it with what you can totally improvise with whatever you have, right? Like, hello, I'm isopropyl alcohol. That's me. You can just like do like what's the voice of this duct tape? Like what you can just bring at the dojo we talk about. That's hilarious. See, but then you play, and it's that's what it is. At the dojo, we talk about the heart of each genre, and the heart of animation is bring it to life. So
Improv for
that's something
sure.
that you can do any time, any space. And when you're in a session, it might be like, oh, can you cover this? Yep, I certainly can. Let me make some stuff up. So, yeah.
Another thing that I might suggest, of course, I'm lucky because my son's an animator and I get to voice a lot of his.
Have a child, raise him to be an animator.
Have a child, have them do your website. Yeah.
Voices for somebody, if they're doing animation or something along those lines. When we're always looking for somebody to do a certain voice for this or that. And I'm like, oh, I know somebody that can do that. And just be willing to volunteer for somebody who's learning to do the other side of it. And you can both help each other.
Yeah. Good. Excellent. A very inspiring question. And we all set the
I
parameters.
see it. Am I allowed to look at questions, or is somebody else?
Oh, I think
filtering
Jeffrey's
questions?
Jeffrey's
the
gonna
boss.
bring him
Okay.
up. Bring him up. That keeps law and order here.
Yeah.
That keeps the flow.
I'm keeping track of them all as they come up. Our next one, I see Kevin is on the call and he's very patiently had his hand raised for a while. Kevin, did you have a question for us?
All right, so I've been thinking about you doing the voices for many characters up until 2022. Oh, what was Susie sounding like?
Did somebody interpret that for me?
What was the question?
Which character were you interested in talking about, Kevin?
It's Zuzu.
Oh, Zuzu from Poppycat.
Yep, that's the one.
Okay, and then what's your question about Zuzu?
Oh, Kevin likes to hear our guests share what the can you
Okay, yeah. Well,
a little bit as Zuzu or tell us about your process of creating Zuzu.
Yeah, that one was done in England first, and then we dubbed it in American English. So it was trying to match the voice and the energy of the original character. And hey, Poppy, watch me skateboard! Whoa, because you're kind of copying the original. Try to be true to that as much as you can.
Yeah. So that was a dubbing job, and Kevin's based in England, so that makes sense that he knows.
Yeah, there was that show. Then the Mr. Men show we did here in the States, and then they had to dub it in Great Britain with their British voices. So same writers, but an opposite process. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. That's excellent.
And of course, so about Anita and Anissa from Poppycat. I mean, from both by Unicorn Kitty, the owl. What was he sounding like then?
Athena. Well, Athena's one of my favorite characters because she's the quietest character I've ever done.
Yeah,
And
what was she sounding like then?
Well, she was just like this, and when she gets scared, she gets startled, she sounds like, huh. But
Was it in America? Was it a monotone?
A
Was
monotone?
she monotone?
Yeah.
Well, she wasn't, not exactly, just very quiet. And
Mhm.
it's fun
Oh.
because her best friend, played by Lila Berzins, was a Yeti, and she was a little tiny owl. So, and obviously the
was-
Yeti was very big. And
Yeah, so the owl, both of Anita, was a quiet voice one, you say?
Mhm.
quiet,
Yeah. Yeah,
Very
good.
quiet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
very,
otherwise,
very bookish.
Yeah. May I ask a question, Katie, riffing on this? How do you
so
approach
otherwise,
uh,
otherwise though, there's another question about the 2022, the Little Wolf one.
Well, you know what, Kev? I think we need to get some other questions in the room. It's great that you got Katie sharing some of her gifts. So, yeah, so we're gonna get some other questions in the room.
I have one more question for Katie.
Right, we're gonna move on. We appreciate that, Kev, and we're gonna move on. Okay, thank you so much. Thank
Yeah,
you.
one question at a time, folks. Thanks.
Yeah. But Katie, this makes me think about how do you approach well, it's not exactly voice matching that you're doing if you're dubbing, but it's
Well, it's
energy.
kind of voice
Kind of.
matching.
So how do you approach it? What's your approach to voice matching?
Well, when I'm doing, especially for England, that's a little tricky because you don't want to end up copying their accents.
Mhm.
And we don't want to do that because we want to keep it sounding American. But you watch it, you hear how it's delivered, and then try to voice match as much as you can to sound close to them. Sometimes they don't matter that much, but within a certain range. And you get the energy and the intention, but sometimes we have the opportunity, which is, and nobody ever, they can try and stop me, the directors, and sometimes they do, but we want to make it our own character too. And so in England, as you could hear Kevin talking, they tend to go up like this, and how do you like my raincoat, puppy? But if I were Zuzu, hey, how do you like my raincoat, puppy? I want to make him sound more American. So I have to listen to, what happened and then try to interpret it through the filter of what they're trying to accomplish by recording it here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
That answer your question?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you want to try to copy. There's lots of voice matching and voiceover or character matching. And really, and if you watch, Allison Packard has a little interview thing, and she interviewed Mami Okada, who runs Bang Zoom Studios. And, really they want the same energy and personality is more important than matching the voice. Because sometimes people get so married to just trying to sound exactly like the person that they miss I have coined a phrase, Tish. I don't know if I shared it with you, but when I coach, it's voiceanalities. So there's a voiceanality. It's not just a voice, there's a character. So you want to embody the character more than just copying the voice.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Yeah, good. Well, let's take some more questions.
Yeah, next one is for Dan, coming from Kelsey V. Kelsey, come on in.
Hello.
Kelsey.
So I was curious. So I've been working for a minute. And at the get-go, I booked like 3 gigs. It was super cool. And now it's kind of like,
That's how
flatline.
Satan gets you into voiceover.
God, I know. And so I was wondering, at what point should you be like, is it me? Or is it my audio? Or, that's kind of my question. Like, at what point should you start being like, is it audio or like, kind of like, how do you assess that?
Right.
Well, yeah, go ahead, Dan. Go ahead.
Well, I get this question a lot. And my standard answer, and I usually start off with this, is remember, the idea of a home voiceover studio is not to make you sound great. It's to make you sound like you in the environment in which you're recording. And everybody's asking for this really nebulous thing called broadcast quality, which is a misnomer and is a standard from the analog days of broadcasting. It's got nothing to do, but people say, well, I wanted broadcast quality. You'll see that with a lot of specs and stuff like that, which of course shows me that the person that wrote that has absolutely no idea what they're talking about. But what I've decided is that it simply means that it doesn't sound bad. In other words, the quality of your audio shouldn't distract the listener from your voice. Anything that's not your voice, if you're not capturing your voice properly, will definitely distract the listener from your performance. So what are some of the things that might cause that? Your levels are wrong, your mic technique is wrong, but most importantly, 90% of the quality of your audio is dependent on the acoustical environment in which you record. If you are in your backyard, that's not a good place. If you are in a bathroom, that's not a good place. You don't want sound coming in. You want to be in the quietest place possible, and do not rely on noise filters the way all these other idiot engineers are keep saying, oh, use this noise filter, use that noise filter. Get it right up front. Make sure there's no noise coming in and that the reflection in the room you're in is extremely minimal. So you don't sound like you're in a tube or in a very small room, and there are ways to do that. What I would suggest, and again, like, because I get this question a lot, is it my audio? Well, I don't know. I have to hear it. So I have a service at homevoiceoverstudio.com. If you click on the specimen collection cup, for $25, I will listen to your audio. I want it completely raw. I don't want you adding filters. I don't want you changing it around. I want to, when you hit record and you record about 5 seconds of silence, talk for about 10 seconds, and then give me another 5 to 10 seconds of silence, I will be able to determine if it's you or if it's your audio, but I will not comment on your acting ability unless I think it really needs some work or something like that. But I generally, after about 3 to 5 seconds, I'll know exactly what's going on in your studio.
Well, that's troubleshooting, right? Start with one thing, eliminate that. If the audio's good, then, that's not your problem.
Then go on, Katie and Tish.
And it's probably not you.
Exactly. And I think that's a mindset thing, like going back to how do you have a sustained successful career? Assume, well, first of all, keep on separating, like scientifically separating, like, well, is there an issue with my sound? Let's look at it empirically. But I think it's really easy when we're like, woohoo, and then, whoa, where is everybody? What happened? To start eating our own flesh internally. Like, oh, it's me. It's because I suck. It's because I'm so bad. Who are you kidding? Right. So our inner critics start swooping around like dementors, and then you can't do anything because you're just swarmed. They're sucking your soul out. So we have control of that. That's the only thing that we have control of in this business. The rest is getting aligned and being in relationship and trusting and being in the flow and doing the best, doing all that we can consistently. But the one thing that we do have control over is how we interact and take care of ourselves. And that doesn't mean that you're like, oh, I'm just great, because we're always open to learning. And Rule 5 of the dojo is embrace, cultivate beginner's mind. There's always something else, and we can always be going, hey, what's going on? Or, and so, but the only thing we can control is how we're taking care of ourselves. And
can I add something to that? Because everything you're
course.
saying is right. Like VO Dojo, I'm sure, has workout groups, and I facilitate a Friday morning animation workout. But the point is, if you're, keep yourself active. You can get feedback from people, live feedback in other ways, because we send out auditions, some people up to 50 a day, and you might not hear back from any of them. But if you can keep yourself active and working with other people, you're doing something, and it feels better than just talking to the void.
Yeah. But always believe in yourself. even and Janelle was saying, "Oh gosh, when I did my first YouTube videos, cringe," right? But that's the beginning. So we're always at the beginning of something, and so that's how we grow. Um, so always believe in yourself. Yeah, and then improve from there. Yeah, good question. Good
Thank you.
question, and thanks for sharing that into the room. Um, what's next,
All
Jeffrey?
right. Next, we have a question coming to us from Janet Saya.
Oh,
Janet.
Janet Saya, hi.
Hi. My question was, okay, so thank you so much, Katie. I just started out in VO after 20 plus years of live stage performance, and I've worked in the VO dojo for about a year. And so I'm excited. I've been starting out, but I'm not getting, I want to do narration for videos and commercials. And there's tons of competition, I'm sure, but I'm not getting any results so far. So, I send out pre-screens on Backstage, and there's always the little cover letter you have to send in there. Most people want a cover letter, but I'm thinking, how can I connect and let people know that although I don't have voiceover experience, I have tons of experience with my voice as a singer and live stage performer. So should I say that, or mostly just say what my voice is like?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing of it. So first of all, Janet, can you say what you've been doing for the last 20 years? Because it's not just being on stage. It's being on stage at a pretty damn high level. So
Yes,
can you say that?
yes. I've been performing on Broadway in the Phantom of the Opera for many
Cute.
years. And it's been fantastic. And so I have a huge range, very, very high notes and very low notes, and all kinds of styles. I can use my voice in so many
Okay,
different
I want you to
ways.
know something, Janet. A lot of people get into voiceover starting out as singers. Jess Harnell was a singer. They sang for all commercials, jingles, or characters, and that is a great way to meet people in the business because so much is networking. So I would never downplay anything that you've done because there's a need for that, and the
Okay.
samples of your voice singing.
That's what I don't have on my demo. I only have narration.
As a singer?
So maybe I should just get that on there and start
Well,
working.
except that as a
It's a narration demo.
narration demo, I don't care if you're the best singer in all of the universe. Narration demo, are you delivering what I need as a narration demo, right? So that's all good. So the things that I'd parse out here, this is great. We ask one question and then there's all sorts of things that we can just go like, I don't know, what's this? What's this? So first of all, a cover letter is just a way that someone opens your email, maybe gets like a few little things about you, which makes them want to listen to the thing,
Yeah.
and then the work speaks for itself, right? You don't have to tell me I'm a boo 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 because I can listen for 3 to 5 seconds, as Dan said, and get that. Now, if you say I've been a stage performer for 20 years, yeah, so is everybody who went to theater school and now does everything. If you say, oh, I've been working at this level for this long and not only have you been doing that, you've been doing a swing, so you inherently do all the things, right? Then, oh, wow, that's cool. I want to hear what this woman has. So just trust that cover letter is like a little bit of oil in the pan or a little bit of butter in the pan before you put your eggs in. Like it's just something that makes it slide so that it's just a vehicle. There's no one like started their career because of an amazing cover letter. So don't get caught up on those things. Websites again need to be effective, impactful. As Dan said, do I get the idea? But nobody got hired because of well, actually, that's not true because Jace Lanier White was here and he said he did get attention because he did something different with his website. But do you see what I'm saying? Vehicles and then the content. So, and then knowing what you're delivering for each person. So yeah, but you completely have singing in character and stuff for your animation and
Do you
some
have a singing
sample.
demo on your website?
No, I don't.
Not yet.
I have snips of 2 or 3 songs on my website for sure.
Yeah.
But they're not like for commercial, they're for theater.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
can
It's all
direct
good.
people.
It's all good.
I can direct people to my website from the cover letter.
Exactly.
So I will just even though it's for a narration audition, I'll still say I'm a Broadway singer with, over 20 years of experience, or
Mhm.
just to let them know this is where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't shy away from that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'll bet you there's other people on the call that have equally awesome things that they've done and that they would put in their cover letter. But I'm not anyone else 20 years on Broadway, not me. Yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, that's something that makes you
Right.
shine. So
Okay.
yeah,
Right. Thank you.
good. I love this. I love how the questions are opening up lots of different layers that we can all look at. Yeah. And then the other, as Jeffrey, who's next, and then just to say one more, Janet, you're also embodying the cultivating beginner's mind, because you are taking all of that experience and then coming to this, and here we are, and you've been doing the work, and you're not a beginner in the voiceover anymore. You're ready. You're a working pro. You're ready to jump in. The mindset is, and I'm still becoming. So
Still becoming.
yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And having the gracious humility and the joyous humility of that, right? Yeah, the joyous humility. Yeah. What's next, Jeffrey?
All right. Next question we have is coming from Cynthia Spillman. Cynthia.
Woo! Speaking of
Speaking of,
back the way
hi
back.
Tish, hi Katie, hi everybody. So happy to be
Hello.
on here.
You know,
Do you want to read it out loud or do you want me to say it?
You say it.
Okay.
Voiceover and everything.
So I love, Katie, that you mentioned ADR, because I feel like ADR and WALA are some of the best kept secrets in VO. It is so fun.
They used to be.
They used to be. Okay, so here's my question, right? So this is me talking from back in the day, and I've had some really great WALA gigs, where I've gotten residuals for years.
Do you live in LA?
Not now, but I'm maybe again. So I very well maybe again. But I think that I'm like dipping my toe back in, and I'm kind of wondering, I feel like I let the ADR thread drop. I was getting some gigs and it was that thing. And I don't know, I let it drop. And, I was noticing that one gig was kind of leading to another connection to another connection. I have no idea what it's like now, but I'll tell you, I would love to be back doing that. Love to, get back on a WALA crew again. And
You and me both.
I think that, yeah. So that's my question. So how did you step into the ADR thing? Was it just by doing like a character gig and somebody said, hey, do you want to do an ADR session over here? Or,
Actually, yeah, but we're talking, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
38 years ago, I was a voice caster. A lady who used to work there just heard me, and she was doing loop, and she said, do you want to, can you work for me on this looping thing? And I didn't know what it was. And I ended up in the studio. And I let the thread drop as well at a time in my life when it was like 12-hour days and I wanted to be home with my kids. So where are you located now?
I'm up in the Bay Area.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not so bad.
No.
But still, yeah, I mean, find out who's doing what. I mean, a lot of ADR, the loop groups that started originally were improv troops, basically.
Yeah.
And but now they're very cliquey, and the reality is only a much smaller percentage of ADR is union. So if you want residuals, that's narrowed quite a bit, because a lot of production is non-union. But, watch the credits. We're the people that sit in the theaters as the credits roll by and see who the loop group is.
Mm-hmm.
Who looped this? Where did it happen? FYI, Woody Allen never uses ADR. You don't have to stay till the end of a Woody Allen movie. And he's not making them anymore anyway. but find out who's doing it. And I'm with Tish, there's things you just sometimes you wait, put it out there. The person who cast me in this particular thing that I'm doing, I've never worked for her before. A few years ago, she wrote me because she was getting her hair done somewhere in Northern California, and somebody found out she did this, and it was in voiceover, and they said, "Oh, do you know Katie Leigh?" Because they were fans of something else I did. So I thought, oh, this is a great introduction. Well, fast forward like 5 years later, through an agent who isn't even in LA, I end up auditioning for a feature film, and I'm sure they hired a celebrity. I was down to the one-on-one with the director auditioning, but if they can get a celebrity to play the lead. So I didn't get the lead, but they said, but we want you to do these other parts, like consolation prize. That's cool. I don't care. That's wonderful. So anyway, who knows? It's not ever how you think it's going to be. At least in my life, it rarely is how you think it's going to be. But yeah, find out who's dubbing and try to get to know them and share your experience, that you know what you're doing, with them.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good. And I think all of us can, especially since the world is so different now. I think, when back in the day, the game really was move to a major market, get skills to get to a major agency. That was where the major opportunities happened. And that was kind of the most of the game. But now it's so open
I just thought of something
internationally.
else. There's a
Yeah.
group called CODA, Coalition of Dubbing Artists, and a lot of the stuff they do
cool.
is check out CODA. And they do
Great.
have Zoom meetings, and they're helping with they got the Netflix basic rate negotiated.
That's huge.
Yeah,
Very
it
sweet.
is. I mean, we hadn't had a raise since 1964 or something, or 81. I mean, there was no, I mean, the actual dubbing union rate,
The unsustained because voiceover grew.
Right.
I'm not kidding. The basic rate was like $60 an hour.
Uh-huh.
But
Which in
they
1965 was a lot.
but they change it. But so CODA, join CODA,
That's great.
Coalition of Dubbing Artists.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah. And Cynthia, trust that the people that you
Yeah.
still know. So I
Oh,
think
yeah.
it's a matter of getting in the flow of reaching out and just
Well,
getting
it used to be
it.
studios, right? Like recording at studios, then I get the connections that way. And it's not happening like that.
No,
Yeah.
I've done, and there are Walla groups that are doing it online, remotely.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Go
Yeah.
for it. Fire
So-
away. Fire in the hold.
I can't tell if that was for Cynthia or for somebody else, but that's good advice anyway.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks, Cynthia. So we're at 15 minutes from the top of the hour. So real quick, I'd like to go around before we answer any more questions and have everybody say what's a good way to get in touch with y'all, what's a good way to follow up. And Sensei Dan, if we could start with you, please.
Pretty simple. It's right here. You get a hold of me there. You can contact me directly. You can use my specimen collection cup to send me a sample of your audio, and that makes it real easy. And if you want to do a consult with me, we can do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And tell them about VOBS too, because that's another great resource to keep on expanding your awareness of technology and making it not scary. It's listening to awesome insights on the technical aspects of voiceover.
VOBS.tv. Or on Facebook at Voiceover Body Shop. And now we're on LinkedIn for some reason. I'm not sure who's listening or watching there, but yeah. And we talk with experts in the industry, accomplished performers, people who teach different genres of material. We were talking about medical narration this week, and you can watch that episode with Deb Irwin. And but we've got probably about 500 episodes of material if you want to listen to all that. And we've covered just about everything. So go over to vobs.tv or find us on Facebook.
Yeah. And Katie, you're right there.
I just changed. Yeah, that's I have a website, katielee.com. So that's all.
Awesome.
I don't know what else
That's
to
all.
say. I'm anywhere. I'm everywhere. I'm ubiquitous. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. Oh, and yeah, and I have a YouTube, Patreon supported YouTube show. Patreon supported, partially put on YouTube, called Tell Ya Later, TELLYALATER. You can be entertained. Can't really get a hold of me that way, but you can see parts of my home.
Yeah, good. And then you're available for coaching as well, Katie, right?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, good. Excellent. Cool. All right. Well, shall we do some more questions? Oh, I'm sorry, the dojo. How about the VO dojo? What about the VO dojo? You can reach us and find out more about us at www.thevodojo.com. That gives you an overview of all the things that we're doing. And we have things, our approach is we're here to support, guide, connect, and accelerate you from I don't know to working pro. So wherever you are on your journey, we'd love to talk with you and see how we can help you get to where you would like to be working together. And if you are interested, we have we'd love to have you join us for a voiceover once over call where we can kind of talk and get to know, get a sense of where you're at and what you're looking for next. Tyler Ashley is on the call here. Tyler Ashley, why don't you say hi and introduce yourself? She's another Dojo team member who's here to support the talent who's coming in. Yeah. Hi, Tyler.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, everyone. I'm Tyler Ashley. I'm the talent consultant here at the VO Dojo. So if you ever want to just have a more private conversation, that's what our voiceover once over is. So we can, hey, Erin. So we can meet you. There's a problem message. Sorry. So we could just meet you where you are in your journey and get you on the ball to the next place.
Yay, awesome. So that's us. Let's see. Anything else, Jeffrey? Did we miss anything? I think we can take some more questions.
Yeah, we have time for a few more questions. So next
Can
one
I
is
have a
gonna-
question? I have a question also.
Oh, I have one more before we start a round again with everybody else. So thanks, Kev. But we have Bryson Robinson on my list as next.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Katie.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I think you're muted, Katie.
Oh, yes, I was trying to be polite. Hi.
How are you?
Okay.
If
Oh, I think you might be breaking up a little, Bryson. Can you ask your question again?
Oh, okay. If I'm a voice actor, who books me for conventions?
That's a good question.
Well, sometimes the conventions will book you if they want you. Otherwise, you need to get a representative to try to get you into conventions.
Well, how do I get a representative?
You contact them. See if they want you.
But
All right, then.
I think the key to getting to conventions is are you voicing a character in a show? Are you part of the creative process? I think that's how you get booked at conventions, is being a part of a show. So do you have characters that are
Popular?
that are in games and animation? Do you have anything going yet? You might.
No.
I don't know. Not yet? Okay. Good.
No, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Well, so then, so this
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you something.
Mhm.
A lot of people will get you. You may not get invited as a guest, as a talent, but some people will suggest panels for conventions, and they actually moderate those panels. And you can become a part of a local convention that way.
That's a great idea. If it's something that you love, get to know the people who are putting it together. Where do you live, Bryson?
What? Say again?
Where do you live?
Where do I live? Oh, Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta. So yeah, so maybe figure out what's going on. What are the cons that are coming in terms of animation, anime, video game? What sort of things are coming up, and see how you can
Dragon Con, yeah.
yeah volunteer or get involved, or if there's things that you love, how do you transition the love that you have for it to getting to know the people who are doing the things? That's a great way to approach it. And then, how you're building your skills to come play as talent. And I think that's what I hear is you have a vision of what you would like to do. I would like to be a talent that is traveling the world doing cons, right? That's a great thing to put out there. And then just reverse engineer. Okay, first, I need to make sure that I have my skills up so that I can be working on games that are catching people's attention and hearts and engaging their hearts. And then how do I become part of the convention, understand the convention world, and how does that work, and get to know the people who are doing things there. And so
Well, it's only taken me 35 years, Bryson. So,
So patience and persistence. How about that? Yeah. But I think it's a really great thing to think about for all of us. What are the next things that we want? And then what are the steps that it takes, and how do you figure it out? There's no exact steps, right, everybody? I mean, Dan, you were just talking about going back to Buffalo, and what you were doing in Buffalo is different than what you're doing here now in LA, and the world has expanded in so many different ways. And so each of us are on our own journey, and it goes this way and that way, and then life happens and something happens. And so we're all continuing to get to these things that we want and aspire to. But how do you do that? There's a way, and then there's another way. Is that helpful, Bryson? I think
Oh,
it's
yeah,
keep
yeah.
on parsing,
It
keep
was, it
on
was.
parsing it out. Yeah, and I think that happens wherever you are on your journey. People come like, "How do I get an agent?" Well, are your skills at a level that an agent would be interested in working with you? Are you bringing something to the table as an agent? Do you have your demos ready? Have you done enough work and training on yourself? And are you able to deliver at 2 steps above your demo to be able to step in the next day and do all the copy that an agent's going to have opportunities for you? No. Okay. Well, then what do you need to do to get to know yourself and who you are and what you're bringing to the party, so that you can create a great demo, and then and then, oh, no, I don't know that. Okay. Well, so then step one further. Have I done the exploration? Have I played? Am I doing training? How am I doing that? Either exploring on your own, and ideally getting support from others, and jumping in, meeting people who are doing the things like you're doing right here. So keep on parsing it out. I think that seems to be the message of the day. Keep on parsing it out. So yeah. Do we have time for one more question, or a few short ones?
Yeah, I'd like to get one more in for Sensei Dan, since I see it down here. Janet, welcome back into the room. You had a question about a very specific scenario.
Yes, I have a wonderful space. It's a walk-in closet, and it has a big window in it where I hear the birds and the lawnmowers and the airplanes. So do I put up a piece of sheetrock and block that window out? Or are there other ways that I can get the sound out and still have my air conditioner in the window?
Yeah. Yes and yes. One, you can probably reduce the size of the window with using some sheetrock or something, but also putting some rock wool insulation in the behind it, and so it's absorbing the sound before it goes through the sheetrock.
What's it? Walk up?
It's that rock. It's called Roxol or rock wool. You can get that at Home Depot, and you seal up the window doing that, and then seal around your air conditioner so there's no sound leaking through that, and that should help. Although having an air conditioner in there is also going to make noise, so
yeah, turn it off.
Is just opening the door and giving it a few
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's another option. Just take the air conditioner out and put it in the next room next door so I can shut that door. Okay, maybe I'll do that.
And then I think also sometimes there's things that seem to be ideal, like, oh, it is a closet. However, it has a window and an air conditioner. So is it actually an ideal space? You know, perhaps there's another space that's less complex to make into a soundproof room. Like maybe there's a more interior closet or something, or a solution that would be even simpler than, you know, I'm just saying, like, how else can you think about it? And it may be that it is the best space because, you know, however the flow of your house is. But I think that's an interesting thing that Dan's able to do, you know, in a consultation as well. You know, kind of maybe explore other places that could work. I'm just riffing here a little bit, but it sounds to me like if there's a window and outside noise and HVAC concerns and like it, I don't know. What's your thoughts on that, Dan?
Yeah, well, you've got to look around. I mean, usually when I go into people's houses and they're like, where should I set up? It's like I sniff around. I look for a room that is isolated, that doesn't have maybe a closet that doesn't have an exterior wall. And that usually helps a whole lot. Plus, there are ways, if you have a very quiet room, there are ways to create a space that will work for you and, you know, cut down on reflection as well. But it's got to be a really quiet room.
Oh, I think you've made your room very quiet. You've muted yourself, Janet.
Oh, Janet's muted. I'm not muted.
No, you're not muted.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know how that happened. Yeah, no, this is an isolated room. It's on the top floor. And I think if I just get rid of all my clothes in the closet and dig deeper into the closet, then it won't be connected to the outside space as much.
Don't take down the
I think I
clothes.
can make this room work.
Could you put more clothes in the closet?
Clothes are by far the best echo absorber there is.
Yeah. Okay.
You need your clothes.
Your clothes. I need the clothes. I just need to, yeah, I'll just start with just blocking up that window and that should do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Well, we are at the top of the hour, so officially, we will bring this June Ask the Sensei to a close. And then, Kitty, Dan, do you have a couple more minutes if there's more questions
Sure.
to carry on? Okay, good.
I hope we've been helpful a little bit.
Yeah, it's been very good. So, oh, something's happening. What's happening? Yeah, so we do this the first Wednesday of every month. Well, actually, this isn't the first Wednesday. The first-ish Wednesday of every month. No, I guess this is the first Wednesday of the month. Drunk again.
That's funny with your first name, First Tish.
The first Wednesday of every month we're here, so you can kind of add it to your calendar, and if you can't make it one day, we always do a replay as well. So if you got a roll, thank you for being here, and do keep in touch with the people who are doing the things here, Katie and Dan and each other, and yeah, if you have a couple more minutes, we can do a little extended dance mix, a couple more questions for a few more minutes. So, yeah. What other things are in people's minds, Jeffrey?
All right. Next one we have is from Amy Hart. Amy Hart was next on my list.
Awesome.
Hi,
Hey.
Katie.
Hello,
I was
hello.
curious.
I see your face. I'm like, where is she? Okay.
I was just curious what experience or things you think voice actors should keep in mind before they seek representation. I know Tish talked about it a little bit, but curious if you had any specifics, like I would try to have XYZ kind of projects on my resume, or I would really seek out this or that before trying to get representation. Just curious your thoughts.
There's so many thoughts. I'm like a there's no one right way to do stuff kind of person. I mean, if you have a really great demo and there's nobody on your agent's roster, the people's roster, because you can check their rosters and see who they already represent. they don't have somebody like you, send them your demo. I mean, everybody has to start somewhere, and agents know that too. So
I would also add that, usually if you go looking for agents, they're constantly being told, can you represent me, and ask that. And I think it's better that you concentrate on getting work under your belt, because if you're making money, then they'll come and find you. And generally agents are only there for commercial work, and commercial work is the little tiny slice of the voiceover pie. And no agent is going to find you an e-learning job or a medical narration or anything like that. I mean, maybe if and some of the higher end stuff, but representation is something that you see. You don't try to seek representation because you want work. If you're getting work, representation will get you more work. So don't,
or help you negotiate stuff.
yeah, exactly. And so just don't put the cart before the horse if you're just starting out.
Yeah, if you have a demo or have friends, you can get work without a demo. You can make a demo without having work. But, and if you have work, you can put it on your demo. But the thing is to get out there working on your skills and trying to find, get experience on your own. Like, where do you live?
I live in the LA area, and I have a couple demos.
Well, good. I'm gonna be honest. I audition all the time. I have several agents. I have a few, and every once in a while I'll get a job from one of them.
Yeah, no, this was great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And I think also just going back to the internal approach to it, Amy, it's something we do at the dojo a lot, is like we switch words like seeking representation and seeking representation. Sometimes I say, it's like, I want a boyfriend. So you didn't come at it with that energy. You came with it like, I'm ready for a solid relationship. Like that's the energy that you sometimes you go, I want a boyfriend. And the energy that you're coming with it as is, I'm seeking a solid relationship. I'm ready for that. So then come to it with that energy, and then it becomes less like, what do I got to do, right? Like what. So what are you bringing to the table? Always trust, like, what are you bringing to the table, and look at it like you are the head of your company and you're expanding your team. So where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? And as you're interviewing people or looking at potential candidates to be someone who's going to be joining your team, who does that, right? So if you're interested in doing promos, then who's got great promo department, et cetera, like those sort of things. So at the dojo, like when we come to our brown belt level, which is integration, once you have all the skills, and it sounds like that's right where you are, then we ask the question, what are you looking for first? What are you trying to accomplish? What are you doing? And then the whole thing becomes a little bit less, how do I do it? Because someone's going to tell you to go to a bar, someone's going to tell you to go to church, someone's going to say go to the grocery store. Karen Gilfrey met her amazing partner at the grocery store, right? And then, but it really comes down to know yourself. What are you bringing?
And if you know what kind of work you want to do, you can, when you meet an agent, you can say, I'm really focused in this area or that. I mean, back in the day, our agents would call you up and say, I have a job for you on Thursday. It's not that way anymore. They're just sort of sending out auditions. Very rarely does somebody go to an agent and say, I'm looking for this type of voice, who can you send us? It's not like that anymore.
Well, this is great.
And it is a valuable thing to take your work to a next level, to have people on your team like that. It can be very useful.
I like your approach, Tish. It sounds very smart and organic.
Well, it's how we have to keep ourselves from going not crazy, right? And I think more and more,
and not be so vulnerable. Like, I'm just lying here like a turtle. Somebody come and rescue me.
And that, that's the interesting thing when that's the interesting thing about how things have changed. And yeah, it's different. I mean, Katie, you said something on 21 Questions that was like, I'm working, I'm in the game, and it requires a lot different effort than it did in the beginning, because, we said, but basically it was that model. And when you got to here, there was a big trout pond, and you just put your rod in the pond, and something came out, and there was only this many of us here. So
Yeah.
we can be wistful about that. But if you're wistful and think that's the only way that works, that's not how
Go
you
get yourself a rocking chair.
that's not how the game works. Now it is still part of it. So yeah. So it's good. It sounds like you're on the trail, Amy, and that's good. Yeah. Any other
Thank
questions?
you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Amy. I just wanted to do a quick shout out. We have Sensei in the house, Sensei Cat.
Let's see. Yeah. Cool,
Cat, are
cool.
you still with it? Oh yeah, here we go.
Give virtual kisses to Katie because I just haven't seen her for years since I left. I saw the opportunity to see her, and you guys are so lucky to have sat at her feet for the past hour and learned.
Oh, well, you're so sweet. You're an amazing person. So
Okay.
Sensei Cat is our international VO expert at the dojo, and also is razor sharp business intellectual. So another great resource to reach out to. And also, Katie, I'd be remiss if I didn't say hello from Stephanie Reggio as well, who's also a dojo
yeah.
sensei.
Yeah.
oh yeah, I don't know who all your senseis are, but they are wonderful people. Yeah.
All right, great.
Do you have time for one more question?
I think so.
Two people?
All right. So I see.
One more question from me.
If it's a really quick one, Kevin.
Yeah, so the new project, very quickly, so the new project about the wolf, 2022 last year. So, how did you came up with this one? And who was the character you voiced then for the wolf then?
You mean the Great Wolf Pack?
Yeah,
Bless you.
the Great Wolf Pack, yeah. So who was the character, so yeah, the Great Wolf Pack, which character did you voice then? You know?
Yeah, it's a creature. And basically the people who were putting together their production company, they had me audition, I think, and I came up with some ideas, and then once you get in the studio, they help form, how they want it to sound.
Well, you collaborate.
Hulu, I think, yeah,
Co-create
yeah,
it.
and plus they're people I've worked with for a long time, so I did, multiple voices. They know, especially in animation, you want to be able to give them at least three different character voices that can be separate, or separate. So if people know you, and they know what you can do, that helps.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Excellent. Any one last question, maybe?
I think this is good for a lot of people on the call, actually. Reagan, are you still with us? Reagan Proom?
Yes, I am. Hi.
Hi. What's your
Yes.
question?
My question is, I'm someone who struggles in how to approach cold emailing. I always feel like I come off too strongly, or like I'm not direct enough, or like sometimes I just feel like I'm being like, I don't know, not unprofessional is not the word, but I just feel like I'm not coming across like well, and I was just wondering if you had any advice on how to approach new people to network, stuff like that.
Well, here's the thing. We talked a little bit about this earlier about, thinking of your email and your cover letter, et cetera, as like putting butter in the pan, right? So mostly make sure that you have your good eggs that you're cooking in that metaphor. So I say, how do you like to get approached? right? What makes you open up an email from someone that what if someone who you do get sends you something and you do open it up, what makes you read through or click through, right? So how do you approach that in terms of what and then you have to tune into who are you reaching out to, why, how can you be of service to them? And Jonathan Tilley is someone we work with a lot with about marketing, and his approach is, how are you serving them? How do you make it about them? How can you help them be so less about you, more about them, and just less in general,
Okay.
right?
When I was in college, a guy wanted us to go to the dorm meeting and he just wrote free beer. Not really at the bottom, but it got our attention.
There you go. But what's the equivalent? What's the equivalent, right?
Free beer equivalent.
And then again, notice everything that we've been talking about is relationship building, relationships. Hi, you don't know me from Adam. Give me a job. Hi.
Mark Scott teaches too, right? Newsletters, right? You know
Yeah.
how to do that.
And so how do you not be that person? Hi, I notice like how can you bring something or ask something?
If
So
you know who you're writing to, go to their website, look at something they've done, give them a sincere compliment or a question about what they've done, because people do like to share about themselves. Don't say so much about you. Try to find out about them, maybe.
Yeah. And then I think we all might have, even the most extroverted of us might have a little bit like, I'm going to a party where I don't know anybody. Um, so then that's also the internal work that you can do, Reagan. Like, calmly, clearly say to yourself as you're going, like, wait a minute, what am I bringing to the party? Hi, it's me, Reagan. I'm this. I'm this. I'm this. I know this about me. I'll just write it. See if it helps anybody. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, how do you? Because it's really easy to go like, oh, it has to be perfect. My kid's making decisions about colleges now, and before that, it was writing the letters to da 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 da, which is the same thing, right? In like just riffing on that a little bit. He's on the wait list for somewhere for UCLA, and he had to write a letter of intention to differentiate himself from other people on the wait list. So the questions are, why is UCLA the right place for him in terms of what he's intending to do? And why is he the right person for UCLA, right? So if you approach it that way, and then not write an essay, because nobody wants to get an email they don't know you about an essay, right? They're just like, hey, it's me. What's up? But that confidence, I think, I'll finish with this, but one of the foundational principles that we work with at the dojo here is voiceover is communication. Communication is an exchange of vibrational energy. And I think when we get spiritual and emotional constipation about writing an email, like that can come through, like, I think it should be better. Am I saying the right thing? Oh, that's dumb. Oh, that's too much. Then what's that energy that comes through, right? And so how can you shift that? So it's like, hey, it's me, Reagan. Here's what I do. I noticed this about you. How can I help? Or get to know them on LinkedIn. It's like, hey, I saw your puppy or something like that. Get to know people not just for what they do, right? I mean, the haircut example. Oh, someone was getting a haircut and said, hey, do you know Katie Leigh? Now Katie knows this loop group director. Awesome. Great. More of that, please. Easy. Did you write a cover letter? Katie, dear so-and-so, I am so glad that my friend saw you at the hair salon.
No, I didn't even know that person. And I think we had known each other, but they say it takes like 5, I don't know if you talk about this, Tish, but I've heard 5 interactions with somebody before they really remember who you are or feel a connection with you. I mean, like when we go to VO conferences, Dan, we meet people all the time, and after about the 3rd or 4th time, you feel like you know that person, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's helpful. Yeah.
Great. So yeah, that's our last question. Tish, how are you feeling?
I think that seems like a good place to wrap up. But everyone, thank you so much for being here. Hopefully this is helpful. Katie, thanks for joining us. Dan,
Hey, thank
great
you
to
for
have you
having
back.
me.
And
Katie, so sorry, Tish. Katie, you also wanted to mention another resource for people on the call.
Yeah, if people are interested and available right now, it's just Friday mornings, but through VO Heaven, Larry Hudson's VO Heaven, we have a weekly online animation workout that I think bears my name. And if you scroll down, you can see it, and people take turns not just reading copy, but directing each other. And so that's good experience, and it's pretty affordable. So just want to let people know that's out there too.
yeah, awesome. Great. That's always a fantastic thing. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks, Jeffrey. Thanks, Tyler Ashley.
You want to see Utah?
Yes, let's see Utah. We'll finish with Utah and beautiful voiceover from anywhere. Yay! Awesome.
Utah, Metah, Weetah.
We all ta ta.
Yeah, and there it goes.
Go Utah.
All right, guys. Thanks. See you soon.
Bye bye. See you next month.